Hello, radiant soul of Scorpio. If these words have reached you, it is not by coincidence. It is because the universe wants you to understand that the seeds of karma you have planted in the past are now preparing to bloom in the field of your finances. And everything you once sacrificed, every moment when you worked hard but received little, every hour when you held on in silence, even while others moved ahead, is now forming into a current of reward that flows back toward you. Slowly at first, then with more and more strength as you realize that nothing you endured was in vain. For those of you born between October 23rd and November 1st, the universe remembers the times when you tightened your belt, when you placed responsibility over desire, when you chose discipline instead of indulgence, and now those choices return to you as a hidden fortune, not in the form of sudden lottery winnings, but as opportunities that reappear, contracts that were once delayed but finally move forward, and income streams that start to stabilize, reminding you that your patience and self-control have always been the foundation for long-term abundance. For those of you born between November 2nd and November 11th, the karmic law is even clearer. For you carried burdens that were not always yours. You worked tirelessly. You gave far more than you received. And though it may have seemed unfair, every unpaid effort has been recorded. And now a sudden turning point approaches, perhaps a new job, perhaps an unexpected business proposal, perhaps a shift in the recognition of your value. And this change will lift your financial situation in a way you have long dreamed of but could not imagine arriving so quickly, as if life itself is finally paying back a long overdue debt. And for those of you born between November 12th and November 22nd, the energy is calmer but no less powerful, because your karma with money has been about balance and the lesson that wealth is not only about what you accumulate, but about how you carry yourself, how you release the urge to cling too tightly, how you accept cycles of gain and loss without letting them define your worth. And now, after years of trial and error, after many moments of doubt, you step into a cycle where stability is restored, where financial flows settle into consistency, where what once felt fragile begins to root itself deeply, giving you the confidence to plan, to invest, to build for the years to come, and to trust that abundance is no longer a fleeting visitor, but a permanent companion on your path. Beloved Scorpio, the universe now turns the light toward your body and your inner vitality, reminding you that every choice you once made regarding your health has not been forgotten. For karma does not only keep the record of your actions in love or money, it also gathers the way you have cared for, or neglected, the sacred temple that carries your spirit. And now those seeds are beginning to blossom, some as gentle warnings and some as radiant blessings, depending on how you have walked this path until now. For those of you born between October 23rd and November 1st, there is a karmic echo that arises from moments when you pushed your body beyond its limits, when you silenced signals of fatigue, when you pretended strength instead of resting. And this period brings you a clear invitation to heal that cycle. Because if you choose to listen, small adjustments made now will yield powerful recovery. And if you ignore it, the lessons will grow louder until you cannot escape them. Yet even so, the universe offers you grace. For every attempt at balance is magnified, and every step toward honoring your body is met with quick, visible results. For those of you born between November 2nd and November 11th, the karmic memory is one of resilience. For you endured storms of the mind and soul, carrying emotional scars that might have weakened others but instead gave you an unshakable strength. And now that inner toughness transforms into an outer shield, raising your immunity, amplifying your stamina, and gifting you the ability to adapt gracefully even when routines shift or challenges rise. and what once felt like punishment is now revealed as preparation, proving that the trials you survived were carving out a foundation of endurance that you can finally claim with pride. And for those of you born between November 12th and November 22nd, the story is gentler but profound. Because your karma with health has been about release rather than struggle, about carrying the weight of unspoken tension, about holding pain within your chest as if it were a secret. And now the universe says the season of carrying is over. The time of release has come. And as you allow yourself to rest, to breathe, to step away from relentless pressure, you will discover that peace is as essential to vitality as nourishment or exercise, and this balance will restore you in ways you may have believed impossible, giving you not only strength in body but serenity in spirit. As if the final piece of your healing has finally arrived, the universe now speaks of the heart. For love has always been the stage where your soul's karmic lessons have played their most dramatic roles. And every tear, every betrayal, every longing gaze you once hid has been shaping the destiny you are now ready to live. Because karma in relationships does not come to punish you. It comes to sculpt you, to strip away illusions until only the truth of your essence can stand unshaken. And now the fruits of all you endured are preparing to ripen. For those born between October 23rd and November 1st, the karmic tide carries you out of old waters where trust was broken and loyalty was questioned. And though you once felt foolish for giving too much, the universe whispers that you were not naive but brave. For the lessons you carried from those disappointments have carved clarity into your heart. And now the time arrives for a connection, unlike the fleeting encounters of the past, a love that reflects your depth rather than fears it. A relationship that allows you to be seen without disguise. And this shift opens the path for bonds that are both safe and consuming in their intensity. For those born between November 2nd and November 11th, the karmic memory is fiercer. For you have known the weight of betrayal and the burn of passion that turned into ashes. And yet you stand stronger, no longer willing to shrink for the comfort of another. And in this season, the universe aligns to send you a partner who does not flinch at your fire. Someone who welcomes your intensity as a gift rather than a burden. Someone who can meet you eye to eye without fear of drowning in your depths. And when this encounter comes, you will recognize it instantly. Because instead of chaos, you will feel expansion. And instead of insecurity, you will feel power shared. And for those born between November 12th and November 22nd, the karmic lesson is about release before renewal. For you may find that a familiar figure resurfaces, not to stay, but to close the circle. And though nostalgia may tug at your chest, you will see clearly that this return is not about rekindling. It is about sealing, about saying the unspoken words and laying down the burden you carried for far too long. And once that chapter is fully closed, the universe clears the space for a new love to enter. One born not of wounds but of wholeness. One that mirrors the healed version of yourself. So that you may finally love without fear, without shadow, without restraint. For those born between October 23rd and November 1st, family karma has often been expressed through silence, distance, and the quiet acceptance of burdens that were never spoken aloud. You may have grown up sensing tension at home, carrying responsibilities without recognition, or feeling that your role was to keep peace while your own needs went unnoticed. In this season, the karmic pattern begins to shift, and opportunities for dialogue appear, sometimes through small gestures, sometimes through unexpected conversations that open a door which has long been closed. It will not be dramatic reconciliation, but steady, simple steps that soften old edges. And if you allow it, the heavy air of past years begins to clear. showing you that even long-standing wounds can heal when both sides are ready to listen. For those born between November 2nd and November 11th, the karmic history is tied to being the one who held everything together, often at your own expense. Perhaps you were asked to take on responsibility too early, to provide stability when others could not, or to play the role of strength while you quietly long for support yourself. This imbalance left its mark, but it also forged respect that is now returning to you. Family members who once leaned too heavily on you begin to recognize your effort, and some will finally offer practical help or words of appreciation that you never expected to hear. The dynamic is not entirely equal yet, but you will feel the balance moving closer, as if the universe itself is correcting a long-standing weight, allowing you to breathe easier in your role within the family. For those born between November 12th and November 22nd, the pattern is less about present relationships and more about ancestral inheritance. You may feel an unexplained pressure, as though carrying struggles that are not entirely your own. Stories of your lineage, especially on the maternal side, come to focus, whether through relatives sharing memories or through your own sudden recollections. These echoes are not coincidences, but signals that you are standing at a turning point, chosen to bring closure where earlier generations could not be. The challenges you face are reflections of unfinished battles in the family line, and by making different choices, whether in how you love, how you work, or how you protect your health, you break cycles that stretch beyond your lifetime. Recognizing this truth gives you not only understanding of your present difficulties, but also the strength to move forward without repeating the same mistakes. And in doing so, you become the bridge between the weight of the past and the freedom of the future. For those born between October 23rd and November 1st, the karmic number that follows you now is 8. The endless loop that represents cycles, closing and beginning again. In your financial and family life, this number signals repayment, debts balancing, and the return of what once seemed lost. When you encounter this number repeatedly in dates, in amounts, in patterns, it is a reminder that the effort you gave without reward is now circling back. 8 asks you to stay consistent and grounded, for stability will not arrive as sudden luck, but as the steady harvest of what you sowed through patience and discipline. For those born between November 2nd and November 11th, the karmic number is 11, the mirror that reflects truth and demands alignment. This number arrives when intuition sharpens and when you are asked to trust instincts over appearances. In love and relationships, it points toward meeting someone who resonates with your depth rather than fearing it. A soul connection that is not about surface attraction but about recognition. 11 also highlights decisions that require clarity. You will be shown paths that seem uncertain yet feel right in your core. And following that, inner voice will prove essential to the rewards that karma has prepared for you. For those born between November 12th and November 22nd, the karmic number is 21, a number of completion and release. This vibration signals the end of an era, whether in family dynamics, old beliefs, or attachments to people who no longer belong to your journey. It is the quiet closing of a cycle that frees space for something new. When you notice this number, it is a sign that the healing work you are doing is not only for yourself, but for those who came before you. And by stepping into acceptance rather than resistance, you allow the unfinished business of your lineage to finally rest. 21 marks the turning of a chapter where you are no longer defined by what you carried, but by what you choose to create. And so, my dear Scorpio, as we reach the end of this message, I remember that nothing in your journey has been wasted. Not the struggles with money, not the battles for your health, not the heartbreaks that left you questioning your worth, and not the heavy silence within family ties that once felt unmovable. Every tear you shed, every sacrifice you made, Every decision to rise instead of collapse has been carried into the present moment as karmic seeds. And now those seeds are beginning to break through the soil. What once felt buried beyond reach is returning as harvest, shaped by the discipline of your financial lessons, the resilience of your body, the depth of your love, and the weight and wisdom of your ancestral line. This is not a promise of perfection, nor is it the sudden arrival of a life without obstacles, but it is the clear beginning of a shift where the universe recognizes the truth of your effort and starts to balance what was once uneven. You are not walking into luck, you are walking into what you already earned through years of persistence. Finances are set to stabilize because you showed patience when others gave up. Health is regaining balance because you chose not to surrender to despair. Love is opening because you dared to learn from betrayal rather than let it harden you. Family is softening because you carried their burdens until the weight transformed into strength. And the numbers 8, 11, 21 stand as signs carved into the fabric of your days, reminders that your journey is aligned with cycles larger than yourself. There will still be moments of doubt, and there may still be voices that question your transformation. But these are only echoes of the past trying to call you back. You are not meant to return to the old cage. Scorpio, you are meant to step into the open air where your depth is not a burden but a light. As you move forward, you will see opportunities come from places you never expected. And you will notice faces turning toward you with respect they never showed before. Relationships will shift, some falling away, others arriving with clarity and purpose. Family patterns will begin to unravel, and you will feel not only relief for yourself, but freedom for those who will come after you. So as you close this video, I invite you to pause for a breath and declare to yourself, I accept the return of my karma. I allow the universe to deliver what belongs to me, and I choose to stand in my power without apology. These words are not just sentences, they are agreements with the life you are about to step into. Trust that the alignment you feel right now is not illusion. It is the sign that the past has run its course, and the future is waiting for you to claim it with steady hands and an open heart. Your season of waiting is over. Scorpio, the universe has taken note of everything, and now the balance tips in your favor. Step forward, not with fear, but with the quiet certainty that you have earned what comes next. This is the time when karma answers, when transformation becomes visible, and when you finally see yourself not as a survivor of the past, but as the author of a future that no one can take from you.